You're listening to the Fort Erie Podcast, your local source for upcoming events, hot new listings, and bite-sized interviews with business and community leaders. Here's your host, Brent Jones.
It is Tuesday, November the 19th. Welcome to the Fort Erie Podcast. I'm your host, Brent Jones, and this is episode number 7. Today, my guest will be Yvonne Hopkins, manager of Fort Erie festivals, notably the Friendship Festival. Doesn't that feel like just yesterday that it was summertime, it was hot out, the Friendship Festival was on, and now it feels like it's 100 below zero. Anyway, season 1 of the Fort Erie Podcast, believe it or not, will be wrapping up on Tuesday, December 10th. That means there's this episode and then 3 more new episodes left this first season. Season 2 will be coming in the new year. By the way, wanted to ask, did you catch my wife and I in the newspaper last week? Niagara This Week, or I guess it's called The Post here, our local variation of Niagara This Week. There was a photo in there of my wife Andrea and I at Sobeys hosting the Cope Food Drive back on November the 9th. And a bit of great publicity there. You know, we're holding up Fort Erie Podcast t-shirts in the photo. Unfortunately, there was a 3-line description underneath it, just 3 short lines. And in those 3 lines, there were 3 factual errors and 1 spelling mistake. I mean, hey, I'm not one to argue with free publicity, but, see if you can catch them all. Either way, exciting times. We were in the newspaper. Let's get on to this week's hot new real estate listings of the week. I've got 3 for you, and I want to start first in Crystal Beach at 329 Dover Court Road. This listing is courtesy of Sarah Randall and Phil Smith of Royal LePage NRC Realty. 329 Dover Court Road is a move-in ready bungalow with a detached garage. Just minutes from Lake Erie, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It looks like it would be ideal for somebody maybe who's downsizing or for a vacation home even though you could live in it year-round. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, I believe, as I mentioned. It's got a wraparound deck with a gazebo and triple-wide parking. Nice-looking home. Have a look. Links to all of the listings I'm going to talk about today are, of course, in the show notes below this episode. Moving on to listing number 2, I want to highlight 260 Lakeshore Road here in Fort Erie. That is, of course, listed by my colleague, Cheryl O'Hearn from Remax Niagara Realty. This home is almost 2,000 square feet, over 1,800, I believe, and it features stunning views of the Niagara River. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a lot of home here, and it's sitting on a lot that is 458 feet deep. Some other features include granite countertops, gas fireplace, newer shingles and windows, fresh paint. I've been through this home in person. It's really worth a look. 260 Lakeshore Road. And lastly, I want to touch on 505 Ridge Road North. That's in Ridgeway. This listing is courtesy of Gordon Kenty and Waylon Tweedy with Coldwell Banker Momentum Realty. This home on Ridge Road is totally renovated just minutes from downtown Ridgeway. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's 1,800 square feet on a lot that's 74 by 192 feet deep. Big lot. Attached garage, it's got a total of 7 parking spaces. So if you already own 6 cars, good news, you can buy 1 more. But check out the photos, seriously. 505 Ridge Road North in Ridgeway. Really spacious looking, modern interior. I think this could be a really beautiful family home for somebody here. So to learn more about these listings, again, check out the links below the episode. And now on to my interview with Yvonne Hopkins. Welcome back, everybody. I am joined right now by Yvonne Hopkins, manager of Fort Erie Festivals, most notably the Friendship Festival. Welcome, Yvonne. Thanks for
coming in.
Oh, I'm happy to be chatting with you. And I want to start first by asking you, what makes Fort Erie such a great place to live and work?
I think the best thing about Fort Erie is the fact that we're surrounded by water.
Yeah.
You've got Lake Erie, you've got Niagara River, there's 6 creeks running through the town. There's just so much greenery and parks, and there's lots of little specialty stores around here too as well.
Yeah. Just transitioning a bit to talk about the Friendship Festival, because I think most notably, that's what you're associated with. How long has the Friendship Festival been going on for?
The Friendship Festival first started out in 1987, and it was to commemorate the longest number of years of peace between the U.S. and Canada border since the War of 1812.
Right.
So it's been going on and changing as times change. When you have like the 9/11, the passport issues and things like that. So the U.S. no longer celebrates; they have another celebration.
Got it.
And we have our own.
Got it. Okay, so we really kind of took it and made it our own, I guess, after that point. All right. So for those who might be, maybe newer to the area or listening from outside the area, what is the Friendship Festival? What is it all about? What goes on there?
The Friendship Festival is a 4-day event that includes a midway and two nights of concerts. Like you have a one night, usually we'll have a theme.
Yeah.
So the one night we had country with Elton Lammy and Chelsea Kreitz and Sugar Creek.
Yeah, I was there for that. It was great.
The one Friday night we had the Meteors with Thunderstruck, as well as Rock of 80s, which is a pretty popular band across the region.
Right, yeah.
We also have a crafters walk with children's rides and a bunch of, we had snakes and lizards and things like that.
Right. Well, you mentioned that there's been an evolution over the last few years, and principally you pointed out that, after September 11th, crossing the border became more difficult and it stopped being a sort of two sides of the border festival. But what else has changed in recent years, and what else do you see changing in the next years to come?
Well, I see that we've actually added more social media presence as well, and we started doing before social media and the computers came into being. They used to have a Friendship Festival Friday where you'd be walking down the street and you'd find somebody with a T-shirt on and they would get a prize from one of our collaborators.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So because we've never did that, what we did was a like and share festival Fridays where we get a donation and we have people, they'll like and share, and then we pick the lucky winners. So we're doing more of a social media, and we're looking into maybe online live streaming of the event as well.
Okay.
And we're relying a little more on sponsorships from local groups as well, so that there's a lot of community buy-in this year, in the coming years. Right.
So if we were to drill down and get a little more specific as far as the structure of the event itself goes, how do you see that changing in the future?
I can see the concerts still going on. See, it's the problem when you put on an event, there's a lot of red tape that you need to follow, because like if you want to have a licensed tent, then you have to have certain types of, you have to have smart serve and things like that. So it's just based on how much money you have and how much money you can spend. So I can see we're still going to keep the music component, but we're going to keep evolving with the community, with community events going on, with special events, maybe possibly trying to get like a donkey baseball game going on and incorporating off-season events as well, so that the Friendship Festival is just not a one-of year, and then you don't hear from us until like March of the following year.
Sure. Okay. But would you still keep things like Midway and some of like the food vendors are there?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
When you have food, people come. So.
Yeah. All right. What are some of the other events your organization either hosts or gets involved in throughout the year?
Well, we haven't really done too much this year, but we're hoping to do some off-season events, and we'd like to maybe possibly have a booth to help promote ourselves at the various events that are occurring. Sometimes we used to loan out equipment to people. So like we have a sound system and we have staging and things like that. So we usually give, I think we donated it out to, someone had a Walk for Cancer run. So we donated our sound system to them. So this year we're just trying to recoup, and it's grant writing season right now too. So
Gotcha. Okay. Well, let's jump into the rapid fire question round here. These are kind of just little nuggets about yourself so people can get to know Yvonne Hopkins just that much better. And so we're going to put about 60 seconds on the clock, and I'm going to just rattle off the questions and you blurt out the first thing that comes to mind. Are you ready? Okay. What is the worst job you could imagine doing?
I haven't had an awful lot of bad jobs. Probably be the pooper scooper behind a horse at a parade.
I could see that. What's your favorite TV show of all time?
NCIS.
What is the thing you're most afraid of, like a crazy phobia?
Spiders.
Okay. If you could be more talented at any one thing, what would it be?
I would like to be able to play the piano by ear.
Okay. And you play not by ear right now?
I have to have music in front of me. If they take music away from me, I'm dead.
Okay. Well, at least you can play with the music. Which celebrity annoys you the most?
Kim Kardashian.
That's a fair answer. What is the most interesting thing you either collect or own?
I collect not live turtles, turtle figurines.
Turtle figurines. Now, do you ever name your possessions like a boat, a car, a guitar?
No.
No, okay. And just lastly, what is your lifelong dream?
My lifelong dream is when I retire and my husband thinks I'm totally nuts, is I want to work at Gatorland in Orlando.
That is very specific. That is cool. Well, that's the end of the rapid fire round. So let's just wrap up with this. If somebody wanted to get involved in the Friendship Festival next year, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
You can go on our Facebook site, because we do advertise for volunteers and ask for help throughout the year in many things, because we do have charitable bingos that require volunteers. Right. But we also do a lot of things. We have trivia nights going on.
Awesome. And of course, I'll put links to all that good stuff below the show in the show notes. So for those of you listening, please do connect with the Fort Erie festivals, but the Friendship Festival more specifically on Facebook. And Yvonne, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
Oh, thank
I really
you.
appreciate that.
This was fun.
Welcome back. And I got to ask, did you notice, and this is me giving myself a little pat on the back here, did you notice that there was no background noise during my interview with Yvonne? That's right, folks. We're back to a noise-free format. Episode 5 with Mary Lou Ambrose Little. Of course, we had noise from the scuttlebutt in the background. Episode 6 with Angie Scott. We had these industrial refrigerators screaming at us in the background. But I promise, folks, we are back to a noise-free format for the remainder of Season 1, Episodes 7, 8, 9, and 10. Let's move on to community events for the next week or so. We've got movie and a dinner night happening at the Ridge Film House on Thursday, November 21st, starting at 6 o'clock. The film is, Burnt with Bradley Cooper, and then dinner and a drink start at 8 o'clock. Just following that, adults $50 per ticket. Coming up on Friday, November the 22nd, from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m., get your pet get a photo of your pet with Santa at the Fort Erie SPCA, 410 Jarvis Street. I believe there's a barbecue starting at 11 o'clock. Bring the pets, bring the whole family, it says. Photos done by Jamie Lee Photography. That should be fun. Also coming up on Friday, November the 22nd, 5 p.m. until 8 p.m., the Fort Erie Optimists are bringing you Christmas Fantasyland. And I'm starting to notice a little bit of a trend here. At this time of year, all the community events seem to revolve around Christmas. You got it, around Christmas. Do any of you have Christmas trees put up? If you do, it's too early. You have to wait for December 1st, guys. Come on. But anyway, Christmas Fantasyland, Fort Erie Optimists. Let's see, what's going on here? The 17th annual Christmas Fantasyland, special theme stage, visit with Santa, decorate some cookies, get a picture with Santa, and free admission, but the club will be collecting non-perishable food items to distribute. Friday, November 22nd, 7:30 p.m., comedy night at the Sanctuary with Jeff Leeson. Sanctuary Center for the Arts in Ridgeway, of course, I'm talking about. Tickets are $20 in advance or $25 at the door. Doors open at 7:30, showtime at 8 o'clock p.m. Then, coming up on Saturday, November the 23rd, starting at 5 p.m., Community Living Fort Erie is doing what it does every year, which is holding an annual Christmas Around the World fundraising event. This year's theme is Christmas in France, Paris Night. So again, the Saturday, November 23rd, and I believe tickets are $50, and this will be at the Fort Erie Leisureplex. Sunday, November the 24th, we have a Christmas Bazaar from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. This is happening at St. Joseph's Church Hall on Netherby, and everyone is welcome. All ages and free admission. And just the last one I'll touch on here, this is a free event happening at the Stevensville branch of the Fort Erie Public Library on Tuesday, November the 26th, Taste of Handel's Messiah. So, excerpts from Handel's Messiah to start the holiday season. Inspiring, dedicated choir, approximately 50 singers, doors open at 7, show begins at 7:30 p.m. That concludes community events coming up for the next week. Folks, if you're not already, I feel like a broken record, please subscribe to the show wherever it is you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube even. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, you can subscribe to the show. Tell a friend, and I'll be back at you next Tuesday with a brand new episode. My guest next week is going to be Marc Poisson from the Bell Tower, which should be a very exciting conversation. Tune in then. So long, everybody.
You've been listening to the Fort Erie Podcast with your host, Brent Jones, a sales representative with RE/MAX Niagara Realty Limited Brokerage. Follow @BuyWithBrent on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates. Subscribe to the Fort Erie podcast on popular platforms like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and catch a new bite-sized episode every week. Until next time.